Hi everyone, it's Dash Dave here again, and I'm back for another crafty video. So, I am very excited to show you this. So I've been working on this for quite a while. Been trying to prototype it, get it to be as simple for you guys to make as possible. And I think I've done it. It's not necessarily going to be this most straightforward thing that you've ever done to make. You'll have seen the thumbnail, you'll see basically what it's like, but I'm going to show you it anyway. So we're going to make a slide box. So this is it. Okay, so this is all made out of Tim Holtz paper, cardboard, sorry. And I know, get me, aren't I brave using my Tim Holtz stash now that it stopped doing the 12x12 papers. So they start off as 12x12 papers, these particular ones, but like if you've got different card, or you can use file folders or whatever you like. Okay, so it's two pieces of cardboard 12x12. One makes the tray and the other one makes the wrap. Okay, so this is the slide tray and this is the wrap. Okay, and then we also use some other bits of card to make the bits that go in the inside. Okay, so I've made these to look like it's old, they've got, you know, dirty, they've been relabeled, etc. So, you know, you do what you want to do on this bit. Okay, so the slides that fit in here are 3 7/8 long and 1.5 high. Okay, so we'll make slides in another video, but for now I've just made these were just ones just so I had something to put in the slide tray for you. Okay, so they were made in like 5 minutes, if that. So we're going to go through it all. Now what I did was I used a Tim Holtz piece of paper for the tray, but I wrapped it in some book paper around the outside, simply because it was just very plain and a bit boring, the paper on the other side, so the pattern on the other side. So I'm going to show you this and we're going to do it. Now I have a confession. The video, I did start the video before, I got interrupted, then I forgot to press record again, and I've already cut the first piece of paper to size, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So this is cut, so if you've got your paper has an orientation like this does, you know, it's clearly a top and a bottom. Okay, you want to make sure that your narrowest part is the width and your longest part is the height. Okay, so this is the width, this is the height. So you need to cut this down to 7 7/8 wide. Okay, and then high, you need to make it high, you need to make it 11.5. Okay, so we'll cut all the components and make as we go. So we'll cut this, we'll make it, then we'll move on to the next bit. Okay, so keeps you interested, keeps me interested as well. The next thing you need, so this, I have cut this down, so this does measure 7 7/8. It be right, and 11.5. Yes, it does. So next thing you're going to need is a scoreboard or some way to make score lines. So whenever you're making score lines, I have always lived by, in order to stop the card breaking so much, I've always lived by any line you press down in. So if you make a indentation into the paper, you should then turn that into a mountain by folding it back. So you have to choose which side do you want facing up. So if this was facing up, then the inside of the box would look like this. If you're making it the way that, you know, a push down becomes a mountain. If not, if you're not worried about that, then it doesn't matter which side you pick. I want this to be the inside though, so I'm going to put that face down. Yeah, so when I put a score line in, it will then bend back the other way. So I'll show you what I mean as I go. So I was always told a valley becomes a mountain, and it's always been great for me to stop it cracking, etc. So now what you want to do is you want to score this at 1 5/8. Okay, so that's 1 3/4, I believe. So if this is an eighth, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's not 5/8, Dave. 1, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so it's one just under a quarter. So you're going to go 1 and 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to push down there, and then we're going to turn it 90 degrees. And then, like I say, this is the quarter, so it's 1 just under that, so it's there. And we're going to score. It's this one. You see how I've put a pen mark on there? I don't know whether you can see that. That's there. And you turn it round, and you're just going to do score 90 degree, score 90 degrees, score 90 degrees, and then till you've done your last score. So you've done all 4 sides. There you go. So that's those done. So, there's no way I'm going to get that in there and still carry on with the video. So now what we're going to do is, because this, remember, we're making this to be the tray. So we're going to, this is the way that you've pushed this in. This is like a dome now. So what was a valley on one side is now become a mountain. That's what I mean by a valley and mountain. Okay, so I'm just going to put in all of these folds. Now I will say that, to be honest, Tim Holtz paper doesn't really crack, to be fair. So now what you need to do is you're going to cut up. So normally when we make a box, we cut here, then we turn it and we cut here, but we don't want that this time. What we want is we want to have the joins at the top and the bottom. Aesthetically, I prefer that, and also you'll find it pushes the box less out askew for what we're doing this time. So we're going to find that crease, and we're going to go up to there, and then we're just going to cut that little triangle out. Now you don't want to cut a massive triangle out, you just want to cut a little triangle out, so a slither out. Okay, and you notice I'm not cutting this bit down, and that's because I'll use that to help me make sure the box is square. Again, just the tiniest slither. Every time I say slither, I've got thriller, because it's slither and thriller. I don't know, for some reason that's all means the same. It doesn't mean the same, sorry. It all sounds the same in my head. So you just have to kind of push through the madness until we get to the sense, which is me telling you the measurements and things. The madness is just the, I don't know, the icing on the cake. So get rid of those little bits. I'm not keeping those little bits of Tim Holtz paper either, so don't tell him. Okay. So there we go. So what we're going to do is going to fold these in, and then this side folds up. We're going to fold these in, and this side folds up. So we're going to glue these bits down. Oh, Dave, stop doing that because you keep losing. You may have noticed since the last video, I have lost a pin. It's gone on the floor somewhere. The only way I will find it is with my. I have a special detector to be able to find these pins. It's called a big toe. So yeah, literally the last 2 that I've dropped on the floor, my big toe found. So I'm just going to do that one side first, and we're going to put that in, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So because this has got a straight edge here and this has got a straight edge, we're going to use those to our advantage to line those 2 up. And remember, whenever you make a crease, you want to be able to see it on the corner, and that means you get a much nicer, more defined like 90-degree angle here. So again on this bit here, I'm just gluing it all down. Now I literally don't do any inking on this until afterwards, but if you want to ink as you go, then you do that. That's entirely up to you, personal preference, whatever you feel comfortable with. You might not want to ink it at all, so you don't have to. That's absolutely fine as well. I will say, although, you know, I did put the magnet on and it's been a godsend because it means that I'm less likely to find them on the floor. It hasn't stopped it happening. I mean, you can't, you know, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you can, because I've learned this new trick, so. But there are some things that this old dog isn't going to ever learn, so. I have to have a memory, you see, that's the reason why. And I'm really, I struggle with memory. Memories, like the corners of my mind. Misty watercolored memories of the way we were. Scattered pictures. No, Dave, don't. There we go. So that's the basis of our tray. Okay. So you could say it's tray bon. Well, you could, but I'm not going to. Well, I already have. So shut up, Dave. It's very annoying round here, isn't it? So there we go. That's our tray. So that's this bit in here. Now you'll notice that it doesn't have these here. And that's because they're separate components. And the reason I've done that is because I wanted to have this ledge here to have something you can, you know, write on, or you can stick something to, or whatever. And then this is also another separate part. So this is separate to this. And that's because the way that you make it, it's much easier if they're separate. I did try to combine the two, and I found that the folding of it was a bit more tricky. So I'm going to put this to one side, and the next thing we're going to make is the inside bits. So the bars either side, and then the slots. Okay, so now what we need to do is, now we've made this bit, the tray. Sorry, my phone rang, and I had to stop. I've come back. So I thought I was going to have to go out to a call out, but luckily I don't have to. So this is the tray. So now what we need to do is we need to make these side bits here. So these bits here where you've got the numbers on the lettering or whatever you want to put on the sides. Okay, so we're going to make those bits. And what they need to be is, you need to cut them to, make sure this is a good piece of card. You need to cut these down so that they are 8 1/4 in height. So that's this way. Yeah. By 7, sorry, not by 7, by 3 1/4. So 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay. So let me do that. 8 1/4. Which way should we cut that? 8 1/4. Let's do it this way. 8 1/4 that way by 3 1/4. There we go. That's one. So there's 2 of these you're going to do. So 8 1/4, 3 1/4. Just move these bits out of the way. So, Dave, get a grip, Dave. Put your lid back in your glue. I'm lucky because I've just been talking on the phone, so that could have all gone horribly wrong. Okay, so now we've cut them, we're going to make them. So these are 8 1/4. Let's just check that because I'm feeling a little distracted since the phone call. I'm waiting to see if I have to go out. That's why. Just talk somebody through what they need to do. So no, we're on. Okay, so 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. So with the 3 1/4 bit across the top, so the shortest edge across the top, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to score at, this is going to be a bit fiddly, so you need to hold it and make sure it hits it butts up against the side all the way down. So you're going to go to 1/4 inch, so that's there. You're going to go a score at 1/4, a score at 1/2, okay. Then you're going to go to 1 3/4. So 1 3/4. Then you're going to go to 2, and that's it. So you're going to do that one, and then you're going to do the next piece. So I just want to make sure I get my card the same way up. Straight up that way. Cool. It's got a slightly different shade to it. That's why. So then we've got 1/4 inch this way. So the reason why I use craft card is because I think it looks more wood-like. So that's 1/4. then we've got half, then we've got 1 3/4, and then we've got 2. Okay, so they're both the same. So you've got a left and a right really, but they are both the same. Okay, so now when you come to score these, it's a little bit fiddly trying to fold these bits here. So what I tend to do is I put a ruler on the very edge, yeah, and I lift that fold against the ruler, then move that a little bit, and I don't like try and do put the full crease in it. I'm just bending it for now. So again, up to that next line, and then just doing that, just using it to bend it over. Okay, so that's those two, and then when you come round to this side, you've got something to hold on to here. So I put that crease in like that, and turn the card round and put that crease in like that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we just want to score in those creases. So fold it over. Yeah, completely scored in these lines then. Okay, and then do these. And then with the other piece of card, you're going to do exactly the same. Okay, that's that, and we'll come back to that in a second. So again, I'm going to take the ruler just on this very tip. It just gives you a bit more purchase. So your ability to grab hold of that edge without trying to have your fingers all in 15 places at once, unless you're an octopus, in which case, I don't know why you'd have 15 fingers if you were an octopus. Anyway, shut up, Dave. So score that line in, and then score that line in. Okay, so now we've got those in, just need to score them down properly. This is how my brain works. My brain's now going, how many fingers would an octopus have if it had 5 fingers on each hand like we do? But it doesn't have 5 fingers because it would have 4 fingers and a thumb. And shut up, Dave. Yeah. So try not to think, Dave. Stop thinking. So now we've got all of those in. We've got these, and they're going to form, like I say, these are going to form these side panels here. Okay, they're not going to form the rack part of it. They're going to form these 2 boxes either side. So now what you'll just need to do is, do they fit? Oh, look, they do. Now, if you listen to Dave, they'll fit. So there you go. Right. So now what you need to do is we're going to glue it. So this first bit here is a tab. Okay, and that's our glue tab. Now, to get the best out of this, this is what I do. So I give it a liberal amount of glue, because even with your art glitter glue, you still want it to grab hold, but because it's holding on to such a tiny tab, you want to make sure that you've got a decent amount of glue on it. It doesn't matter if it squeezes out a bit on this bit, because you're not really going to see this piece. So then what you need to do is you just need to kind of line it up and pinch it together all the way down. Don't pinch too hard, kind of just pressing, using your fingers to form the box shape. And then what I do is I get a ruler and I pop that in there, and then I just use that to press down that edge, because you can't get your fingers down up there, and you don't want to flatten your box at this point because you'll just push it all out of skew. So I just kind of flex my ruler and use my ruler like an iron to press down on those bits. Oh, you see, look, there we go, we've gone a little bit out of shape there. But that's fine, we can remedy it. So use that to press it down with. Okay, so once it's kind of glued, now is the time when you can kind of flatten it a little bit and use your not scoring tool. What is it? Yeah, that. The Teflon bone folder, that's the one. Bone folder. So then just make it back into kind of a box shape. So that's one of your sides. We'll do the other one. Too little glue and you'll find by the time you reach the other end, this end will have dried up. And too much glue and it'll all ooze out and actually will just be too slippy slidey. I know it's the Goldilocks effect, you're going to have to get it just right. So pop that in there and just hold that. And pinch it together like that. Like that. Just pinching. It helps if your fingers aren't sticky as well. And pinch it together. Kind of make sure you keep it square and it doesn't like overhang one end. Yeah. Get your ruler in there. And then use that to press down with. Okay, once you kind of got it down, yeah, there you go, that one works this time. And then once you know that it's in the right place, now you can use your bone folder across that. Now if you try and just do that when it's wet, you'll push it all out of shape and you'll find it hard to get it to go back the right way. And what we want to do is just push it back that way, turn it back into a box. There we go. Cool. So that's the sides for you. Okay. So pick a side, any side, doesn't matter which side, and then stick them in there. Actually, let's do it that way up. Yeah, cool. So these now just get glued in. So what I do is I glue a little bit across the bottom edge. Now I didn't bother making these look like wood because I actually covered it up with a piece of paper on the top. But if you're going to use it as it is, now's the time to colour it before you get glue on this bit. And you glue it all the way across one side. So you've got enough glue for it to kind of latch on. And then you're going to take this and you're going to pop it in one side and you're just going to, so don't squeeze it because it's a box and you'll squash it, but just push it against there. This one's not been glued in, so that's why it's fallen over. So that's fine. And then do the same for this side. Try and get it on your hand. Okay, and then along this edge. Well, I would personally do, if you weren't like me, I'd do the edge first and then do the top bit, but sorry, the side bit. But my brain isn't working. So, and then pop that in there and do the same on this side. So pinch it against the side, and it should fit in your box anyway, without pushing it out askew. So you can push that side in against the box, but try not to squeeze it too much, otherwise you'll just squeeze it flat and that'll ruin all that work you've just done. There you go. So that's your two side bits. Okay, so this is where we are now. So we're at this point. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the rack. So the rack is the same. The rack is the same measurements, but I'll show you how to make the rack. So we need to make it, again, it's 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's what we need. So we need 2 pieces of cardboard that measure that. So that's a piece. The piece has got glue all over it. We won't use that piece. Find a piece so this is the one where you might want to start colouring it. So find a piece of card. I thought I had a piece. That's why I didn't get it out. So a piece of cardboard. Yeah. Like I say, I'm using the craft card because I think it looks wood-like. Okay, so again, we're going to go for 8 1/4. So let's just say, that is 8 1/4, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So we'll just do 3 1/4 this way. There's your 3, there's your 3, there's your quarter. Get it square, Dave. 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I'm just going to have a quick look at something. Yeah, just making sure the camera's rolling. Like I say, done it already today, so it's because I'm doing it in the evening after work, so my brain's a bit fried from work. So we're not going to put this together after we've scored it. I'm going to show you. We're going to do a further step. So this is why we're making it as a separate piece. So again, you're going to choose which side you want facing out. So I'm going to go for this side, and it's the same measurements as before. So at 1/4, 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 2, and like I say, I've tried to make this as easy as I possibly can. So again, 1/4, 1/2, 1 3/4, 2. Okay, that's those two. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. I'm actually going to use a different scoreboard in a second. So these are going to be the rack. So I'm going to put you on the rack now. So this is going to be the rack, this bit here. Now, I tried all sorts of different ways to make this rack. We went from cutting little bits of grey board to stick up against the side. That, as successful as it was not easy, very fiddly, extremely time consuming, and also you'll find it very hard to cut good sturdy pieces of grey board that are all exactly the same size. So this is the way that I've come up with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and now we're going to score it the other way. Okay, so what you've got is, this is going to be your backside, not your backside, but the backside of the thing. This is going to be your top edge, yeah, and this is going to be your front edge. So let me just show you what I mean on here. So this piece is the bit that's glued to here, okay. This piece is this top edge here, and this piece is this front edge here with the slots in it. So the top and the front edge have both got slots in, but the rest doesn't. Okay, so in order to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to put it on here. And now I didn't want to go, if you notice in my box here, it doesn't go all the way down. Okay, just think it looks a bit more realistic. I've often seen slide boxes like this that have like a rolled up piece of paper that goes in there, and it's got, you know, further notes and things, which, you know, you can absolutely do, but I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the first 1/2 inch. So not going to do anything at the first 1/2 inch. Now I'm doing this on here, and hopefully you can see. So let me see if I can zoom in and help you see this. So let's go. That's the wrong way, Dave. Okay, so Dave, remember to zoom out. So I'm not going to score at the first 1/2 inch. Okay, I'm not going to put a score line in until here, until I reach this line. So remember, this is your tab, this is your bottom edge. You're not going to see that, and you need it for rigidity, so you're not going to score it, but you're going to score on that front edge to the top, okay, and then stop. And then what I do is, you can feel through the card, you can go 1, 2, and you can put a score in there. And then you're going to do again on that score line, feel it, 1, 2, and put a score line in Okay, 1, 2, put a score line in there. Okay, I'm actually going to use this one because it's got a much more pointy point. Okay, so then we're going to go 1, 2. So you can see how I'm in that groove that I've just made. As I just move across, that's 1, 2, and it naturally stops, and put a score in there. Then 1, 2, score. 1, 2, score. 1, 2, score. 1, 2, score. So what we're going to do is when we cut it, we're not going to cut this first bit here because that's the bottom, but we're going to cut to here. Now I'll show you how the cutting goes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed all of this up, and then you don't have to watch me do this in real time. Okay, so just so you're aware, I don't go all the way to the end. So I leave a bigger space at this end and not quite so big at this end, but I don't go all the way to the end, okay? So that's one bit, and I'm going to do the next bit. So when you're doing the next bit, you want to have it, so let's just move these sticks out of the way. You want to have it, so if you think that this is going to fold over and this is going to be your bottom edge and this is going to be your top, so that's going to go one side, so the other side is the opposite way. Yeah, so what you need to do is you need to put it slightly different way round on here, and then you're going to get the same measurements. If you do the same measurements but have it the opposite way round, then there'll be a left and a right side, and they'll all line up. They won't be all out of alignment. So does that make sense? And now what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of card, you take one of the pieces of card, and you're going to use a ruler. And I've got a slim metal ruler, but if you only have a big ruler, use your big ruler. And what you're going to do is, again, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to make sure that you can still see this. Yes, you can. Okay, so what you're going to do, don't look at my dirty fingers. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this ruler up to the edge of, can you see where you can see the score line? So this is the opposite side, so this is where we pushed in, and this is the back where it's domed out, and we're going to cut either side of each of these. So what I do is I cut one side all the way down, and then I cut the other side all the way down. I'm not trying to cut it out at the minute, I'm just cutting the side. So I just cut it. So sorry, I nearly went from there. You're going to go from here. So this is going to be your bottom edge. You don't have any cut line in it. You're just using that as a reference point. Okay. Because you need to just cut slightly over that line. Okay, and that's so that you don't see all the tail ends of all the bits you've just cut out. So you're going to go from the other side. You see where this line is? You're going to go from the other side of this line to the other side of this line. Okay, so we're just going to cut it, and I'm just going to show you that one as I go. So in and cut down. Oh, Dave, it's actually going completely off the line. Down to the other side of there. Okay, so we've gone from the other side, so from the furthest edge to the nearest edge of those score lines. So again, on to the next one. I'm just going to do it with you. So from the furthest edge to the nearest edge, and we're going to do that all the way down. So I'm not going to make you do it with me. So now I'm doing the other side. So you're just cutting that score out. Basically what you're going to do. So you're just going to put a cut line down the other side of the furrow. Okay, so now that you've done all of that, what you need to do is you just need to be very careful, and you just need to cut off at the very top and bottom edge of each of one of those slots. Now you don't want to go all the way through, otherwise you'll just end up with a big hole in it and it won't be the right thing. So you've got to think about it as a comb. So you're going to cut out one bit, leave the space. So the bit where you're going to cut out basically the score line that we made, and that's the reason why I use scoring rather than pencil marks. Also, it's much easier to get regular marks on a scoring board than it is to get regular marks from pencil marking. So you're going to cut the bottom edge of each one of those things. Now you don't have to go mad, you only need to just basically put a little bit of a line through it. Now that does mean, because you're not going to try and be perfect, that you won't get perfection. However, I genuinely am telling you now that you don't need perfection, because you're not going to see it, and actually you'll reap the benefits if it isn't perfect. It does look much more natural if it isn't perfect. Okay, so you do that one bit and then you go down the other side. So I'm going to do that and come back to you. Okay, so now we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to push these out. So if you look at mine, you can see where I've pushed it out, and there's a little bits of like floof left. It's kind of torn up the edge on bits, but I personally think, like that bit hasn't completely pulled out. I personally think that looks much more natural than if you did it any other way. Sorry, Worcester has come to say, yep, he thinks the same thing. Doesn't have to be perfect. Neither me nor him are perfect, but we're lovely. So go on then, Worcester, off you go. Good boy. So he came for a bit of reassurance. So now you've made a little incision at the bottom. What you need to do is you just need to pull it out, okay? And then all the way down to the bottom and pull that out. So like I say, it's not going to be perfect, but you don't need it to be perfect. In fact, the object is, and I genuinely mean the object is for it not to be perfect. Because like I say, I think it looks much more natural. If you are a perfectionist, then maybe what you should do is program your cutting machine to do this for you. Okay, so you could indeed, of course, get your scan and cut or your Cricut or whatever it is that you have, your Silhouette or whatever, to do this for you. But this, for me, I wanted to make it as easy, so I could have done that, absolutely, but I want to be able to make it for you guys who don't have access to that. You can still make it, and also it will look, from my perspective, better because it's not perfect. I'll celebrate my imperfections, and so should you. So, if I didn't, well, I'm autistic, so like I love the fact that I'm a bit quirky, random, different, beautiful, amazing, talented, charming, idiosyncratic, all of the beautiful descriptive words that I am. So I'm just going to, like I say, I'm going to go through just like I did before. Just going to take all of these out, and I'll speed the video up and or edit it out, and I will see you soon. So you want to just make sure that you're taking every other one out and not every one, otherwise, like I say, you'll just have a massive rectangle. Sorry, my iWatch is dying, so. Okay, so there we go. So what I'm going to do, just put those to one side while I just clear up. So all the bits I've just torn out, whatever. That. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to do the same again. We're going to bend this first crease over. Now you just need to be careful you don't put your fingers through that comby bit. Just need to be a bit gentle on that first bend, that first fold. Yep, then come to your second fold, and now it's going to be easier to fold because there's less cardboard, but also just you need to be very careful again on that second fold now, because that's where the comb bit is. Okay, so we've done that bit, and we're going to do the fold on. So the next fold is actually through the bottom part of that comb, so you just want to line up on that fold there, and then fold that through. I'm using my palm rather than my fingers because I'm less likely to put my palm through the holes than whereas I am likely to put them through put my fingers through the holes, and then we're just going to fold that crease in. Okay, so now we can get in with our scory bone folder. Okay, so this bit is the bit you need to be careful with. So rather than using the edge and snagging and ripping, I'll just use the side, kind of iron it down like that. There we go. And the same on this bit, just kind of iron that bit down. And then this one you can get in more with the edge. Just don't press on this bit and catch it on that bit there. Okay, so that's that. And do the same on this one. So again, on the edge of there, lifting that bit up to introduce that fold to it. To the next fold and into the fold, or get into the groove. No, Dave, do not sing. Remember that this one is actually within the comb itself, so it's best to use your palm rather than your fingers, and then that bottom one is easier with your palm as well. Okay, so put that first fold in, and we can do that with our bone folder like that, the tip of it. Put the next fold in, and it's best if you kind of iron it with the flat edge of it. Okay, and then same with that bit, just kind of iron that in. Now, if you notice I haven't inked it, the reason I didn't ink it is whenever you put any ink on cardboard, especially this kind of porous cardboard, the craft card, you're going to make it a little bit weaker. It's going to get wet, okay? And it's going to take a long time to dry. So I will ink it afterwards. So if you look at this one, I inked it afterwards. Now, what that meant is you get a much lighter inside. Can you see inside here? Much lighter inside the slots, and then the outer bit is more dirty looking. But again, I think that looks more authentic. So we'll keep you zoomed in for the time being while we glue this. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue down this edge. But no, Dave, of course you left the pin off it, and I don't know. Oh, you haven't lost another pin. So guess what? There's another pin for my big toe to find. So I'm going to close that together, being gentle with it. Remember, you can't, if you couldn't press the other one in, you can't press this one even more, because this is even weaker structure now because you've cut a lot of it out. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to put the ruler through the middle, just making sure it doesn't snag on any of those bits. And we're just going to use that edge to flatten it down. Okay, so there we go. And now you can put in that, press it down with that scoring tool there. Not scoring tool, the bone folder. Okay, so as you'll see, it's been hand cut. It's all irregular, but again, I think it looks much more authentic. It probably, you know, these kind of slide things would have probably been hand cut. They probably wouldn't be machine made. I think machine made says very much latter half of the 20th century, and we're trying to give it more of a, well, I'm trying to give it more of a Victorian Edwardian sort of feel. So pinching that all through, putting my ruler down the middle of it and pressing down on that edge. Oh, it's come apart. Pressing down on the edge, and then flatten it down like that to just iron in that gluey bit that you've just made. Again, and then reshape it. There we go. So now what I did was, I knew at this point, I knew where the pin was for this, but who knows where that's gone now. Oh, found it. Well, found one of them anyway. Let's put that back in. I found it with my hands rather than with my foot. Okay, so what I did for this was I just took some of, I actually used the brushed corduroy because it had a much warmer, woodier tone for me. So I was using the brushed corduroy that was already on the go. Of course, it's going to elude me now, isn't it? So, you know, because you actually want it. We're going to hide. We're going to play that game, aren't we? Now I know you play a different game. Thread of distant thunder, the sky was red. You always turn. Oh no, Dave, where the heck have you put the brushed corduroy? That's the new one. Back in a minute. Earth. There's a lot of cutting out of this today. Right, found it. Hiding over there. So what I did was I just took the pad and I put the pad over it. Right, don't snag it, obviously. You just need to be careful. If you've got a very inky pad, then you might want to put it on a dauber first. So I wanted to make it create that kind of dirty look. So this bit where the slots go all the way across the edge, that's the top, and the other one is the bottom. So you don't need to ink the bottom because you're not going to see it. So, but obviously, if you've used other cardboard, if you've used something that's like, you know, the Tim Holtz stuff, you might not want to do this. So Right, so just try not to snag it, because all you'll do is you'll tear all of these. You're just trying to give it a bit of a warmer tone and undulating, because you're thinking about all of the dirt and grime and dust and everything, and it probably wouldn't have got all the way, the dirt and grime and dust wouldn't have got inside those combs. So what I tried to do is I tried to bend it back on itself a bit so that these stick up without them being catchy, because you're trying to push it against the surface. So, and really, like, if you do rip one out, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. How many things have you seen that are like hundreds of years old that are still in perfect mint condition? You know, especially if it's been used on a daily basis. So something like a slide tray, or you know, a chair or a table or whatever, they're unlikely to be perfect. The things that you kept for best were the things that have kind of never been, things that never saw the light of day. The things that kind of got no marks and scratches on it, so that, you know, like the best china that didn't get marked because it probably didn't come out very often. So only for when the vicar came round. So this is putting the marks on it. Okay, that's fine. So now what I do is I go in with another colour. So I think I used this, which is tea dye. And again, it's got a much warmer tone, and I just put in some extra layers of colour. So the thing with tea dye is you don't really see it a lot until you kind of put it on, and then you notice that it's there after you put it on. As you're putting it on, it doesn't look like it's there. So. And I use a brush because I think it's a bit more gentle on this kind of thing. Don't do the bottom because nobody's going to see it. Hopefully I'm still in shock because I've just realised I haven't zoomed back out again. I need to do that, otherwise I will forget. And you put whatever colours you want to put on. It's yours at the end of the day, so you do you and all that jazz. I'm just going to put a few other colours in just because it adds to that agey look. Again, we don't need to do the bottom, so we won't. It just adds to the warmth of the tones to make it more woody, and you can tell it's changed colour because you can see what the colour of it was on the underside. So we'll have a look at that in a second. You'll see what I mean. Don't press too hard, you'll flatten all of those nice combs that you've just put in. Okay, so this is what I mean. So that was the colour it was before. That's the colour it is now. Okay, so they don't have to match. Okay, but you know, they're there or thereabouts. Okay, so these form these bits either side. So if you notice here, I've cut one line extra on one and one and not on the other. Not worried about it. It is fine. So these are going to go in this way up. Right, not this way up. Otherwise you won't be able to get your slide in. You're going to sit this way up. Okay, so again, I'm going to glue these in. So you're going to put a bit of glue across the base. If you've put the lid back on your glue, that is, which I did, only because I found where the pin was. But of course it's going to jam up now, isn't it? We're jamming, 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 jamming. I hope you like jamming too. Oh, Dave, don't put your thumb in it. So just remember which bit you're putting down. Don't put the wrong side in. The reason why I say don't put the wrong side in is because it's much harder to rip out, because it's much more fragile, because you've got a load of card out of this. So just try and get it right. So that's your bottom edge, that's your back, and that's going to go in that side. Okay, I'm going to press it down. Okay, and you might want to get in there. If you want to get in there to press the back panel down, then just get in there with your pokey tool and kind of just randomly press every now and again along there, just so that it makes contact. Hold it in at the top side bits like that. There we go. And then we'll put this other side in. Nope, don't do the bottom edge first. Oh, I've just realised I haven't zoomed out again. Going back out again. There we go, sorry about that. Just realised I hadn't zoomed back out. So, and then put across the bottom. Let's make sure we've got it all the way across the bottom. And across the back. Okay, we're going to put that in there. Again, press it in at the top, press it kind of down. If you press on the very back edge where the back of the, so this is the back piece that you've just glued, and then these are the fingers, the rack bit. If you press on this bit, it'll push the bottom down against the back panel, and that's fine. Like that. I've actually put that in the wrong way up, because the bottom, this bit was supposed to be the bottom, and the writing's in the wrong way up. But again, don't care, doesn't matter. I'm not worried about it. So there we go. So now we've done that, what we want to do is we just want to ink this. So I want to make it look a bit more aged looking. So I'm going to get rid of that white edge at the top. I'm not going to worry about this because you're not going to see it. Okay, but I'm going to leave the sides as they are this time. So I did cover them in book page last time, but I'm not going to bother because I actually like the outside of this one. The outside of the other one was just a bit plain. It was like, I think it was very kind of wallpapery look to it, which just didn't float my boat, so I used a bit of book page over it. So I get all of those beautiful corners. Get that top edge as well. Light dusting over the sides. Don't have to worry about the bottom. You're not going to see the bottom because it's going to sit on top of the sleeve. There we go. Cool. Okay. So, and we'll do the finishing touches and the decorative bits shortly. Just going to get those tips of those edges there, just so you can't see any white bits. Okay, so that's our tray. That's what we've made so far. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put that to one side, and now we're going to make the wrap around. Okay, so move this all away. So what you'll find is your box now will be big enough to fit will be big enough to fit your slides. So your box is now big enough to fit a 3 and I forgot what I've just said, 3 3/4 I think it is, 3 3/4 length slide. Yep, actually a bit bigger than that, 3 7/8 by 1.5. Okay, so they'll fit in nicely there. So they'll sit in there nicely, and because you've spaced them the same way all the way down using that 2 2 2, they will sit kind of straight. Yeah, so they won't sit like this at an angle, or if you try to do it, you know, freehand cutting it, it may well happen. I'm not guaranteeing that would happen. You might be a better cutter than I am, but there you go. So they fit in there. So we'll decorate it with the bits down either side shortly, but we'll make the wrap, okay, because it's a wrap. Okay, so put that in there, and then in an upcoming video we will make some slides, and we'll keep making slides, and we'll make loads of slides because we'll have loads of places to put them, because I'll have 2 boxes now. So okay, and then I'll have my prototype, which is not a complete one. So now what we need to do is get a scoreboard out. Okay, and again, you're deciding what you're going to have on the outside. Let's get the thing the right way up. Oh, let's cut it first, Dave, because I haven't cut it down yet. So you're going to cut this to the, so this time the width is the longest measurement and the height is the shorter of the 2 measurements. So unlike when you make the box, the longest measurement was the height and the width, and the shortest measurement was the width. This time the longest measurement is the width and the shortest measurement is the height. So the width of it, you are going to make 11 3/4 by 8 3/4. So we're going to go 8 3/4. Sorry, I don't know whether that's my phone. So we're doing 11, sorry. So the width we're doing at 11 3/4. 11.5, 11 3/4 there. So we're going to take a tiny bit off. Which bit should we take off? Doesn't really matter. This right hand side is going to be front cover and the left hand side is going to be back. So just take that into account. So we're going to go for there. So we're only taking a fraction off it, but that's absolutely fine. Oh, get off. Again, not going to keep that. Sorry, Tim. And then we're going to do the height. This time, like I say, the height is the shorter one of the 2, and that's 8 3/4. So you just need to decide which bit are you keeping, which bit are you losing. So I think I'm going to do it that way. We're going 8 3/4, aren't we? So there we go. I want to lose that bit, or do I want to lose? Let's lose. Let me lose this bit. So I'm going to cut it so 2 ways. I'm going to cut that bit, and I'm going to turn it round and cut that bit. So we're going to go 8 3/4 that way. I'm going to cut some of this off. Okay, and then we've got more of the map on the front, whichever way up that was. That way, I believe. Yeah, that way. So I will keep those because they're good for like snipping things out of, etc. So with the with it in landscape mode, in landscape, you're going to score it at 5. You're going to score at 5, yeah, and then you're going to score at 6 3/4. So actually 6 and then 3/4 is there. Okay, and that gives you your front. Sorry, yeah. So your front, your spine, and your back. Okay. So we're just going to fold these in, fold those pieces in. Get rid of this scoreboard. So it's another Dave box, but this time not made from a file folder. But like I say, absolutely could. There's nothing to stop you making it from a file folder. In fact, I might even make one from a file folder and put that in on the thumbnail if I have time tonight. So that's going to be your back, that's going to be your side, and that's going to be your top. There is a slight difference on the, you can see here, there's a slight difference, and that's just to accommodate wrapping around the top of the box, okay, and it also gives you a little bit of space in case you have a slide that doesn't sit in properly. You don't end up bending the slide and breaking the box. It will just sit on the top like that. So what we're going to do is we're now going to ink this, because then it'll all look nice and beautiful. Well, it already does, but it'll look better with less of a white edge, for me personally. You could round the corners if you want to. I didn't on the last one. Might do on this one actually, just as a bit of a difference. And just getting rid of all of that white edge. Okay, and what I also do is I ink the crease on the inside on both ways. So I just fold it back on itself for a few minutes. We'll do that. Yeah. So just so that you've got a line, and then I'd go a bit heavier on the outside. I'll put a bit more on here, I think. Vintage photo. And then do that next crease as well, because the outside is bound to get a bit more grubby looking. Okay, and then I just did all of the edges now. So I will round the corners this time. So I'll do that before I ink it, otherwise I'm just going to cut off what I've just inked. I'll go for a medium one. Nicer if it was a bit more shape, a bit more regular shape as well. And that. And these. And these. So I've cut. This has been designed so that it sits a little bit bigger and sits around, so you've got a bit of a border around the edge of the tray. So it's not exactly the same size as the tray. So you don't have to do this bit because that's going to be covered by the bottom of that box. But you might want to do this edge. Now on this one, I put in a little panel here, and we'll do that again, I think. So now what we're going to do is going to put this on here, and if you butt it so that it sits next to the crease, yeah, so that it, you know that if that folds up, don't sit it over the crease, otherwise it won't fold. Yeah. So you want to sit it so it butts up, and then just fold that over, and then that'll give you the right sort of shape. Yeah, and then you'll just need to put it in, just eyeball it so that it sits in the middle of that bit there. So what we're going to do is just going to put some ink. So you're not going to glue the edge, so it's not going to stick, so the side of it is not going to stick out. It's going to fold open. Now you could have it like that if you wanted to have it so that it sat up there, but I like it to completely fall open. So I'm going to glue, like I say, just on the bottom, not on the edge. This is the time to just double check that you've got your case the right way up, and your cover corresponds. Now you know that I've made my case the wrong way up because I'm an idiot, and also a tired idiot. So I made my case with the bit. So I'm now going to choose, do I want the case the right way up, or do I want the rack the right way up? I'm going to go for the case the right way up. I don't care about the rack. So I'm going to butt it up against there. Put it up, just then make sure it sits in the middle of that back thing before it kind of grabs. That'll do. That sits there. Stick it down. Kind of press it down. Don't press too hard, otherwise this will all kind of buckle in on itself. It is only cardboard after all. Okay, so now what we're going to do is going to make these bits either side. So all I did was I took some coffee dyed paper. This is what I used. So I just used some of this because this has already been coffee dyed. And then all I did was I cut it to 1/4 of an inch so it sits on there. So 1/4 of an inch. Try and get it level all the way up. It's hard to cut 1/4 of an inch on this thing. You can't actually see it once you've closed it. So there you go, roughly 1/4 of an inch. It might. Ooh, that might be a little bit out, Dave. Yeah, it's gone a bit narrow on one end. Try again. 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 of an inch. Hold it there. That's not 1/4 of an inch, Dave. That's 1/2 an inch. There we go. That's better. Okay, and then we'll do the same again. That 1/4 yet. There we go. And then what I did was, and then all I did, like I say, was I just took it, chose which side I preferred. I liked this side that got kind of grey mottling on it. Put that on there, and then it sits nicely on there. And then I took a pencil with some lead in it, and then I just marked top and bottom. So what I did was I marked it like in the middle of one of these, and then that way then I knew that I had to number in the gaps. Then what I did was I just made, I took this and in between each one of those I just wrote in it in different types of pen. So I literally I did some in pencil, I did some in different types of pen. Different types of pen, where are you? I tried to leave out the ballpoint pens because I didn't think they looked particularly ancient. Okay, and what you can do is, as you might have seen before, let's see, I took some book pages, anything like 23, I just cut out and just stuck over it. So cut this out. I've just dropped that pin again. It's actually stuck in my leg this time. I took that, glued it on the back, and stuck that on the 23. I didn't mind it being wonky either. Anything else, any of the book pages you've got with numbers on, that's fine. 14 will do. There we go. Thinking 150, I hope it wasn't. But no, that's the other side. What did I just say? That was 14. That's the thing, you have to remember which one you're covering on. 14. leave it at those two, I think, for now, just because we've got time. I'm time strapped, you aren't. So okay, so then this is what we're going to put in on here. So the other thing I did was I rubbed out those lines, so you can't see those lines between. You can leave them in, obviously. You can leave grid lines in, do what you like. So, but I'm going to rub them out. Oh, just realised I've rubbed out one of the numbers. I clearly haven't written that one in. I haven't written 18 in. So let's do that in my favourite. We'll do 18 in. Okay, then I inked this. I made it look a bit grungy in places, like really grungy in places. And then I put glue down the back of it, stuck it to one side. Doesn't need a lot on it, it's not going anywhere. Light on that. If you butt it up against this side, it'll go on nice and straight that way. There you go, that's that one. And then the other one I just put random things, so I actually just stuck it in and then did the random stuff when it was in place. So I'm doing it that way up this time, so just stuck it in like that, and then just did some random things. So I did some signatures and you do what you like. So like I say, you do you. Just squiggles, because like I can't do signatures. I can't do my own signature, let alone somebody else's. I'd be rubbish as a master criminal. Okay, so that's what I did for there. Okay, and then like I say, for the front bit, I just used, because I can't make things like this, so I'm just going to use one this time. So I used a double, so I basically cut the end of one off and overlapped them, so it looked like a grid like this. As you can see, there's two separate pieces of paper overlapped here, but I'm just going to use one this time, and I'm going to cut this down. Let's move that out of the way. Cut that down to that edge there, roughly, like that. And then just cut so I actually covered up what the word said, because I didn't actually like, they're very modern to do and email and doodles and notes, so I actually got rid of what it said. And the way I did that was I just put something over the top of it. So I actually just entered. So I used a piece of offcut paper like this. Just cut it down a bit more. Cut this down a little bit so it's narrower. And I took this stamp and I just inked it, and I got rid of the actual date on it, or the year part of the date, like that. Let's just say 18th of February like it did before, because I didn't changed it. Didn't ink it because I wanted it to blend in, because you know your writing might be fab, Mine just isn't. Let's move that out of the way because that's going to be in my way otherwise. And then I took a different coloured piece of card. Now I went for something that I thought colour-wise went in. I was actually liked the birds on that cover, so I might just go for something else, maybe a bit of yellow, which I know is very garish at the minute, but I could tone it down. And what I did was I'm going to cut it to the size of this. So I'm going to mount this first, and then I'm going to cut it. So let's go for... So I don't know whether anybody's ever seen these, but these are... I can't remember what they're actually called now. Perfect layers. What they do is they give you a perfect edge to something. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this on. So we're going to ink it first. You knew that was going to happen. Not with that one, we're not. Just so we get rid of that edge, that raw edge. Okay, might need a bit more colour than that, Dave, because that looks like me on holiday. Not very coloured. I don't tan very easily, I'm afraid. That's the natural Irish in me, so I've got I used to have a very gingery beard. Never had ginger hair, but I used to have a very gingery beard. And basically I've just inked the wrong one. Somebody could have told me. They didn't, though. Just have very... I say I used to because now I look like I've been attacked by a grey squirrel. My beard does not look red anymore, so there's more grey than red. So I did that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick this down now. Just loosely. I'm going to pop it on this edge, but I'm not going to worry too much about the width at the minute. You put that down like that, and then you get your perfect layers, and then you put that edge up against. So it's got a little step there. You catch on the edge of that paper there, and then you take your sharp thing, whatever it's called, blade that was hiding, and you just cut it down that edge, because that edge has got a piece of metal in it, so it's got a metal edge to it. So, and then you go around there and you catch on that edge there, and you do the same on there. And you catch on that edge, and they're in different sizes, so different sides are different sizes. Catch on there. And then that gives you the same dimensions all the way around the card, which I quite like. Don't use it very often, but I do like it. There we go, and then we're going to ink this, so it's not quite so stark, not quite so bright, I mean. Maybe a bit much on that corner, but never mind. Okay, cool. Then we're going to stick that inside, in there, like that. Glue it down. Stick that in there. Kind of straight, doesn't have to be straight. And then, you know, you can put whatever you like. I mean, I just did some random things and signed it and that sort of thing, but I'm going to leave that one blank because I'm not going to do anything, that's why. And there you go, that's it. So, oh, the only other thing on here was I took a label, took a piece of a card, cut it down. Just going to show you a little cheat way of making one of those kind of shaped labels. So I just took this and cut it to, I don't know what, 2.5 high. No, we're going to go for 2 high. And then we're going to go for maybe a bit longer this way this time. Go for 3.5. Okay. And then what I did was I took a corner, not a corner rounder this time. I took a hole punch, a circle punch. I popped it in. I kind of got it to where it was, I thought it was kind of, the point was in the middle. I just snipped it out. And it's kind of a little cheat way of making one of those kind of Denison style shape fancy labels. It's not going to be perfect, so remember, it's not going to be perfectly sized all the way around, but it's going to be yours and you've done it and you can be proud of it. So, because you should be proud of it, because you've done a cracking job. And I'm just going to ink this. Not going to bother with the middle of it because I'm going to put a piece of paper over the top of that. Going to go for a bit more of an inky colour on the outside. Really take away that yellow this time. Like I say, I'm not going to worry about the middle of it because we're going to put a piece of paper in the middle. So we'll take one of these and we'll put that down to a little less than we did that. So we'll go 1 3/4. 1 3/4 by 3 1/3. And we'll do the same on there. I'm just thinking, where's that gone? Stuck to the bottom of that. So again, just do the same as you did before. Hopefully see if you can get you to see what I'm doing there. So I realised I was tilting it my way, so of course it was all cutting nicely until I had to just misbehave. Never mind. Sorted. Get this, ink this all up, all around. Now on that one I didn't use a typeface that I liked because I couldn't find all of my stamps, but I found them since, so I'm going to stick that one there. Obviously not with the doodles bit up, because doodles are for poodles, and there's no poodles in this, so pop that on there, pop that like that, kind of just get it in the middle. There we go, and then we will make a, I'm going to call this case like that one was, but I'd found the C, the S and the E, and I couldn't find the A, but then I realised I could put it over there with, because it was in the airmail thing. So that's not right, is it? How far down is that A? That, oh, hang on, there might be the S that's the wrong way up. There we go. And we'll stamp this in another colour because we can. We'll do blue because it came out. Oh, don't just stick your finger in it, why don't you? go, stick that back on the shelf, and we'll stick a number on a number. Get a number. And we'll do that in, let's do that in green. There we go. And then just stick that on the front. And that is our slide case, which we can then fill to our heart's content with all the slides that we're going to make. So we're going to I know I've made slides before, and I'm going to go back to my roots on that, but some of you guys haven't seen me make slides, so we're going to make some slides. So there you go, that's it. So that, oh blimey Dave, he had it for 2 minutes, honestly, he did. No idea. Guess what I'm looking for? Guess. Yeah, well I can't find it anymore, so the pin's gone again. So I'll find that in a minute. Oh, it's there. So there we go. So we've made another slide case. Ow! Dave, don't stick that through your finger. It's all fun and games here if it's not insects, wasps and things. It's me stabbing myself. So, okay, move these things out of the way. There we go. So that's what we made. So that's our inspiration. That was my prototype. This is the one that we made. So very similar looking, and like I say, these will all fit in there nicely. There we go. Cool. So anyway, there you go. So I hope you liked that. I hope you thought that that was a good tutorial. Please give it a like. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. Please share it with other people. If you do make something and you've got a YouTube channel, please tag me and let me know that you've made it. So you tag me using the @ dash of Dave, no spaces, no underscores, no nothing, dash of Dave 1. Okay, and that will tag me to it, and then I can see that you've mentioned me somewhere and I can see what you've made. So please, that kind of really helps me to grow my channel. Thank you to everybody that's recently subscribed. I'm now sitting at 1,685, which is kind of blowing my mind. In a couple of weeks time it'll be my 500th episode. 500, wow. If you think on average I've done that each video is like at least an hour, that's 500 hours. Wow. So anyway, there you go. So please give it a like. Really do appreciate anybody that gives it a like. Please, you know, feel free to message. I know I'm behind on my messages, just had a really busy few weeks at work, but I will catch up. You know me, I will try to reply to you ASAP, and I will see you all in the next video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please get your friends to come and watch and subscribe, and I'm so grateful for everybody being here. Thank you so much to Sue at Paper Inspirations, who is an inspiration, and Tracy Fox at Tracy Fox Creative. Just these people have really helped me to grow my channel. I'm so grateful to you. I cannot gush enough, and I know I'm behind. Sue, I've recently sent you a video message on Marco Polo. But I'll need to send another one because I've got other things to talk about. And Tracy, I owe you an email very soon. So anyway, take care, folks. I love you so much, really do. I never say things that I don't mean. I'm so grateful to you, and I love you. All right, thanks for being here. I'll see you all in the next video. I was very excited about this, can you tell? And I hope you'll make one. All right, take care, folks. Lots of love. Lots of hugs. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye, 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 bye. Don't forget, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. Unsubscribe. Bye.